Welcome to Travel Tech 2023 USA and Canada 4 edition, where transformation begins. By becoming a sponsor at Travel Tech, you'll gain access to an exclusive platform to showcase your brand to a global audience. Here's why you should sponsor our event. Travel Tech provided knowledge to more than 167 countries. Travel Tech is the largest online event in the travel and hospitality industry, reaching the milestone of over 1,500,000 unique impressions in its events. Delivering to the world knowledge, free education, inclusion, and effective networking for evolution in the industry. Being an excellent means of showcasing your brand. Over 80,000 people attended our live events, generating more than 19,000 hospitality and travel-focused leads. Introducing Travel Tech Academy, a platform offering free courses designed to share valuable knowledge from the best professionals in the travel and hospitality industry. Our mission is to provide inclusive learning opportunities for those who may not have the means to gain qualifications otherwise. With Travel Tech Academy, you'll have access to top-notch resources and insights that can help propel your career in the travel and hospitality sector. Over 3,500 professionals have already taken the course on our platform, acquiring knowledge and improving their professional profile. Many professionals, through Travel Tech Academy courses, have managed to find better job opportunities in the job market. For more information, visit traveltechacademy.com. Stay tuned for the upcoming editions. Brazil and Portugal, taking place between May 23rd and 25th. APAC, happening between July 11th and 13th. LATAM and Spain, taking place between September 12th and 15th. EMEA happening between November 14th and 18th, thus concluding the events of 2023. And to become a sponsor of Travel Tech, get in touch through our website, traveltechspace.com, or by email at geraldo@traveltechspace.com. Travel Tech, what else?
Hi everyone, and welcome to Travel Tech USA and Canada 2023 Forum. It's a pleasure to have you all here today. A little bit about Travel Tech. It is the world's leading platform for educational content for the travel and hospitality industry. Been doing this for a couple of years already. So Travel Tech and the Travel Tech group of brands can help you support your business, can help you grow it, train your staff. It's being introduced with Travel Tech Academy as well. So, and this year it's self-funding itself. Very important because it wants to show its continued commitment to the industry and to all of you. And I'm very much pleased to be starting the forum for this week. It is an absolute pleasure to have the stellar lineup with me. And my name is Alejandro Gomez-Lozada. I'm the VP Commercial at Hollybob. And today we can start with Jenny from Rooibos, Contracting Director at Rooibos. Jenny?
Hello, everybody. Good morning. Pleasure to be here with this spectacular lineup and just honored for the invite. Thank you so much to Vinicius and the Travel Tech team.
Thank you, Jenny, for being here with us today. And then we have Corey Falter, Principal at Leray Agency. Corey.
Howdy, y'all. Hey, I appreciate you guys inviting me on. Exciting to be and very honored to be part of this amazing panel. appreciate the invite. I'm really looking forward to bantering on about some of these really great topics that we teed up. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Corey, for your time. And there must be some history behind that accent. We'll talk about it before we end today's session. Then we have Jerome Gulick, CEO and founder of June's. Jerome, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you from Europe. It is now gin tonic time over here. So I know you're all on the cappuccinos, but thanks. I'm super pleasure to be a part of Travel Tech and also the Academy is super cool. Thank you.
Jerome, a little bit about June's for the audience.
We started June's about 2 years ago, and it's a technology which is a business-to-business technology. And a marketing platform at the same time, connecting brands with hotels.
Well, good, awesome.
And of course travelers, but the business to business part is what we're going to talk about today, right?
Awesome. Yes, I was saving the intro, the subject for last, so we can just build that excitement and that expectation, right? Then we have Christy White, President and KLW Consulting. Christy.
Hi, I'm Christy. And Corey, I just want to be clear because that sounded like a Texas accent, and I'm accustomed to being the only Texan on the call. Although technically I'm a Louisianian, but I now call Texas my home because, no state income tax.
Hey, I'm a hostage here in California, and I want to be in Texas, so I apologize for that. For that hijacking that. So sorry about that, Christy.
It's okay. I'm going to let it slide this time.
Christy, a little bit about KLW Consulting.
So a hospitality consulting company. I have 30 years of hospitality experience, ranging everything from front operations to sales maximization and optimizing profit within those. My current passion in the world is helping hotels better understand how to optimize that meeting space, because our owners didn't build our hotels for our meeting space to stand empty 80% of the time. So what are you doing that's negatively impacting that space? And do some of those long-term policies that we had pre-COVID, are those still lingering that are negatively impacting our profitability going forward?
Awesome. Thank you very much. I'm super excited now.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, we have Rachel Obenshaw from Shenny, President at Shenny. Rachel, welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So I guess my quick background, I spent 20 years as a buy-side investor. So in public equity and private equity for some of the biggest asset managers in the world, like Citadel and AllianceBernstein. And one of the core areas that I covered was travel. So I followed the publicly traded hotels, cruise lines, travel tech platforms, and just fell in love with the industry. And I co-founded Zenny 2 years ago. And Zenny is a platform that lets businesses sell travel to travelers. So we have a Shopify-like system where our subscribers can launch their custom website and their booking engine. It comes loaded with inventory at wholesale rates, so they can add a markup and make money. And what's really unique is that our backend is built on blockchain. So this means that the commission payouts and the vendor COGS payouts are protected. They get locked with a smart contract and no possibility of them getting mishandled or not paid.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for that intro, Rachel. And before we go into the first round of questions and start talking about this, we know that today we want to address best practices to an efficient distribution strategy, mostly B2B. A lot of you have extensive B2B experience, some B2C as well. So I think everyone is going to be very keen on listening to you and reminding the audience that any questions, any suggestions, any ideas or things for the panel, please don't hesitate on posting them on the different channels. This will be picked up by the Travel Tech team and given back to us before the end of the day to address some of them. But if all is okay and everyone is in agreement, I think we can fire this up. And we can start with Jenny. Jenny, I mean, when we talk about distribution strategy, be that hotels, be that flights, it is quite a large subject. Everyone seems to have an opinion about how evolved this is, and well, it's been solved there and done. But why do you think hotels need to continue evolving and diversifying and expanding their strategy for distribution?
Well, thank you, Alejandro. First and foremost, I think we are definitely coming out of troubled times. We are definitely living in a new era. And I think COVID taught us a lot. And the first, something that's a very basic, but it was really reminded us, do not put all your eggs in one basket. Evidently, hotels need to be prepared, and the more diversified they are in their sources of business, they're going to have more leverage, as well as what they're doing with their inventory, what they're doing with their rates. And then also it's about reaching the right customer for some properties. And again, the more you diversify and you expand, the more opportunities and possibilities of reaching that right customer that's the fit for your property, that's going to have the spend, that's going to reach that's going to pay the rate that you want. As you know, in addition to, also for hotels, it's important to building their base business, and with diversification also comes market diversification, reaching that possibly international customer that's going to book way in advance, especially looking at, talking about USA and Canada specifically. That international customer is super important. They help us improve our booking window, and just building that base business, that I think it's important. And I guess I'm focusing a little more on the leisure segment, but that also I think does cover a lot of even the group business and other segments as well.
Cool. So if I were to dig deeper into some of that, I think you mentioned diversifying, not putting your eggs in one basket, right? Finding new sources of business. Actually, you touch upon personalization, which is quite interesting, and how to get that right customer to pay the right rate. So where do you think lies the biggest untapped opportunity for hotels at the moment? Is it personalization? Is it distribution channels and making more efficient use of that technology? Is it other things that we haven't even talked about?
I think it's a combination. Talking about technology, and I didn't get a chance to talk a little about Rooibos, and I think I'm going to jump in and highlight what Rooibos does now. We are actually a platform that helps hotels precisely do this, diversify their distribution channels in an easier and simple way. Nowadays, to reach new channels is very time consuming, and that's probably one of the most precious resources we all have now, time. So we're trying to do this faster, efficient, without consuming so many resources within the property. And that's one of the things that Rooibos does. It helps hotels reach more distribution channels, select where they have actually the control and the opportunity to pick and choose which channels and which partners are looking for, in what parts of the world they're looking for, and being able to get to that faster without consuming so many resources as far as time and human resources as well. So I think it's a combination, basically,
Okay. And then everyone feel free to jump in.
Yeah, I want to jump in on that, because I think Jenny is spot on. We're still hearing from hotels. I still have hotels that I work with that their sales office, they used to have a staff of 10 and they now only have a staff of 3, and they've got to manage through that. And RFPs are coming in left, right, and center, not always qualified RFPs, but they still have to respond to them. So they have to figure out ways to do more with less in a meaningful fashion. And I think that's something the industry is going to continue to struggle with, because unfortunately, as part of COVID, we put a very sour taste in a lot of hospitality professionals' mouth. I had friends that I personally would have said, the only way you're getting them out of a hotel is in a pine box on the, when they pass while walking through the atrium. And they got laid off during COVID, and they went and found better jobs. One of my closest friends got a job in big pharma, and she's been to Hawaii the last 2 years on an incentive because she's one of their top salespeople, and her company called her to come back, and she's just like, yeah, no, that I'm gonna take a pass on that. So as an industry, we're also going to have to get, how do we attract good talent back, because we lost a lot of it and we have not made up that ground yet.
I mean, it's very interesting that you bring that up, Christy, because I myself was having calls with operators, potentially for Hollywood, a couple of weeks back, all through the world, and the single most thing that was raised up was lack of staff to actually grow the business, which is insane, right? So if we had full employment, then, well, great. but it's
What's also interesting, Alejandro and Jenny, of course, is, and reacting to Christy as well, is that the market has changed so dramatically, and for, I feel with my clients, Christy, for example, that there is a certain need for technology suddenly, where it was very much before COVID seen as a cost, rather than a revenue opportunity or an operational improvement opportunity. Now it actually we start seeing a change, and I hope really that the skill set for real salespeople and account managers are going back to what it was 10 years ago, to be honest, because that's what you need, and that's what partnerships and business to business partnerships are all about. So
I would tack onto that, Jerome, is that we're probably going to have to hire people who weren't sellers, and we're going to have to do, but in doing so, we as organizations have to commit to training. This can't be welcome to our hotel. The bathrooms are that way. Here's your login to Salesforce or whatever CRM use. These are the markets that you're covering, and go with God. Good luck with that. We have to create training programs that support them and teach them the proper way to prospect, and how do we, I think about it as like the three legs of sales, prospecting, relationship building, and RFP filling out. You've got to teach them how to balance that so that you feed that pipeline on a regular basis, and you're contributing to the pipeline versus getting lucky because an RFP fell into your lap.
Correct. Yeah.
Additionally, we're seeing also a lot of people on the other side of the fence that are planning meetings that have never planned meetings before.
Oh, yes.
Right? So the opportunity of holding, in fact, a lot of them have never even heard of CVent or never even heard of an RFP.
Yeah.
A lot of them are reaching out, and that's part of what my topic is to talk about. But a lot of them are simply saying, hey, I'm an admin. My CEO came to me. He's asked me to plan this event. I don't know anything about planning an event. Do you have any availability in these dates? I need help. Can you help me?
Yeah,
so
I call it the rise of the non-professional meeting planner.
Yes.
Because now it's suddenly Susie, the plant manager's secretary, who's planning that meeting. And you're right, she has no idea. So our salespeople not only have to know how to sell, but they have to know how to handhold through the process to make it easier.
Absolutely.
Well, the educational cycle for people that are doing jobs that they were not ready to do before the pandemic has accelerated, right? So to your point, Chrissy, you're bringing someone that wasn't there or like didn't have the skills to do that in the first place, and you're asking it to do it in like record time.
Yeah.
And it's interesting how the industry is evolving into kind of enabling all that people through technology, through SaaS, through like educational content like we're doing today, and other tools to provide better service. I think that what I'm lacking, and potentially I'm gonna segue into Corey now. Because he did mention hotel bookings for groups, is what we see is basically the need of rethinking the whole experience. Like I think you touched also on that, Christy, right? So there are hotels that are still thinking that a check-in experience is still going to the front desk, see a human being, get a plastic card, and go up, right? It's insane that with the level of technology, the level of engagement, the level of knowledge you have about the consumer before even arriving to the hotel, you're still giving like textbook experiences at check-in, right? Whether that is individual or whether that is in groups. And Corey, let me kind of segue that into you. So individuals versus group bookings, completely different beast, right?
Absolutely.
Completely different experience, completely different technology. I actually was flabbergasted the other day to hear someone say, I cannot find a piece of technology that helps me book group tables at restaurants when I'm doing meetings in 2023. So please enlighten me, because I just cannot get my head around it.
Hey, Alejandro, I appreciate the tee up here. As well, I just want to give a quick context to myself as well. I'm a little bit different from I think you all here at on the panel. I'm come from the marketing side of things, and we're on the we're an agency that supports the group and B2B side, but also suppliers of the industry. And it's primarily longer higher price ticket sales that requires some sort of relationship. You know, we don't impulse buy a meeting or a piece of tech software. It requires an authority, some trust to be built so that we reach out to a particular entity when we're ready to buy. It is a lot, as Alejandra, as you expressed, it's a completely different process than the leisure, you know, where you typically, it's a self-guided process, you book. This could require months of research and consuming content. And at some point you feel that the need is there, you reach out. So that's what we do at Lure Agency. We help our sales team really use authoritative content to build trust and authority at scale, so that when at that bottom of the funnel, when that prospect is ready to reach out, they immediately think of our people because they've been with them, they've been in the feed, they've been educating them, they've been bringing them value 24/7. It hasn't been buy my product, it's been let me educate you first, let me build that authority. Oh, and by the way, I'm here if you need help. And it's a classic inbound marketing strategy from other industries that I'm sure you guys have. The latency in tech, I see a lot of grins on this panel right now. You know, this isn't brain surgery, folks. We're just taking something that's tried and true to other industries, SaaS software in particular. This has been going on since HubSpot founded Inbound Marketing 101. You got to build trust and authority. You just don't reach out to somebody cold and say, buy something. It takes a little, just like a marriage. You don't reach out for a dating. Hand in marriage, you got to go through the dating process first. So what we try to focus on, and as I mentioned to Christy and you guys just moments ago, is building direct sales. And it's a little bit counterintuitive to the whole technology distribution, but I guess the distribution would be, the distribution's direct, right? Owning that customer, owning that sale. Yeah, obviously third parties and other platforms are important to get opportunities, but when you can own that prospect and that customer, you've got so much in an advantage on so many different levels, even from how you fulfill that promise on the property level. So
Corey, can I just tap in on a thought there you just posted? Is because you said like it's about the distribution, it's about B2B. Actually, I do still think that hotels have a hard time understanding if they're B2B or B2B2C or B2C themselves sometimes, right? So they get mixed up. But I think that when you talk about the distribution and getting that more direct distribution B2B, it talks about the quality of the business that you're sourcing, right?
Absolutely.
First point is like you choose where to get that consumer, how to get it, what rate it's going to pay. It's not about just getting it directly on the website. I think that is the evolution of that thinking of direct versus indirect, which is like black and white, day and night.
Right.
Which doesn't work anymore in this world where there's like thousands of APIs, open platform, million connections. Like Rachel will tell us all about that, right? But but I mean, it's not that cookie cutter anymore. It's more about understanding what is the revenue and the bottom line impact for you, rather than the actual source and just boxing people in.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Alejandro, I want to pull on that just a little bit, because you were talking about hotels don't know if they're B2B or B2C. And the answer to that question is they're both, because when they're selling to group, 80% of the time they're B2B because they're selling to IBM, Google, Amazon, whomever. And when you're in the leisure piece that Jenny was talking about earlier, that's truly a B2C component. And in their distribution strategy, they need to have strategies for all of them and how they handle that. When's the last time as a hotelier you went and looked at your booking experience on your website? Does it have everything that that consumer needs to make those decisions? There's someone in the comment was talking about people are booking Airbnbs because they want the experiential component of it. Well, we have experiences within our hotels. How are we conveying that across our consumer sites to talk through that? How are we conveying that in our booking engine for our meeting space so that they can see we can do more than just classroom style seating with a head table with a stage and here's your podium and microphone and good luck with that. I don't think we address that as effectively as we should in order, but I think it's because hoteliers don't understand they are both B2C and B2B, and they have to have separate distribution strategies for both of those.
And let me use that. I'm going to take a liberty here, guys. So we're going to go to Jerome, but this is actually very interesting. So I'm going to use Jerome after, because it's all very relevant and interconnected. So Jerome, I hope you give me this leeway. But Christy, you just said, like, there are experiences. The hotel has other things to put in front of the consumer. But on the other side, they're understaffed. They don't have enough resources. They came through COVID hit. At the end of the day, to the point in the comments, so people are booking experiences now first. It's more of an experiential booking journey for the consumer rather than a transactional, I just want a room and get in, for some people, again, depending on the nature of the business. But what are the things that our hotels are missing on today? Like, I know that I'm going to name some names. Hopefully they forgive me. Or maybe big hotel chain in the US actually tries to play a big homes and villas strategy and experiences, but the consumer just doesn't get to it, right? So is that an untapped opportunity for hotels? What are the things where they can distribute more? Is it actually hotels? Can they distribute other things better? What are those things in your opinion?
This is a question to Christy, right?
Christy, yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said Jerome, and then I kind of I was kind of not preparing my brain. It's probably a little more difficult when you're part of that major U.S. brand because you don't really have control over your website. And I know during COVID, a lot of hotels struggled with this because my husband manages a hotel, and during COVID, they stopped serving their continental breakfast, and they couldn't find someone at the chain that he works for to update that on their website. And unfortunately, that also distributes into Booking.com, Expedia, and all of this. And they would have customers check in going, "Where's my breakfast?" He couldn't solve it with his brand. So the way they solved it is they went and bought a bunch of $5 gift cards to Chick-fil-A and McDonald's. And when that guest came in and said, "Where's my breakfast?" he's like, "Do you want Chick-fil-A or do you want McDonald's?" And for every guest that was registered in the room, he gave him a $5 thing. And he used that to his benefit. But it actually, his guest service scores actually went up because they're like, "Still got breakfast." But if you're one of those brands that are fortunate enough that you can have your own vanity site, that's where you get that ability. I've seen hotels down in the Naples, Tampa area that have cameras that look out on the beach that shows what the beach view looks like right now. And customers can go to their website and just watch it. I've got one that I follow that I watch every time I get stressed because for like 5 minutes, I can sit there and veg out and watch the waves crash in. But every time I go down to the Tampa area, where do I stay? At that particular hotel. Using your guest reviews, having those somewhere prominently on your thing so that you can collate them in, that someone talks about their experiences. You've got great companies like Flip2 that does an amazing job of capturing actual guest comments on the things that they did, photos that the people took and put on there, and their customers display those prominently on their website. So now the customer is helping guide that experiential process for you, and it's not you trying to do it. Going to Expedia, Expedia's testing ChatGPT and how to plan your itinerary. Max Starkoff just a few weeks ago posted about planning a trip to Osaka, Japan, and he let the ChatGPT app kind of figure out what he wanted to do, and the itinerary that they planned was frighteningly close to what he wanted to do. So we've just got to be more open to the technology that's out there to help with that, and having things that you can do that are near you that customers aren't going to know about. Even if they're just a business customer that's coming for one day, there might be a cool place around the corner that they don't want to miss.
And before we open the ChatGPT kind of worms,
sorry about that,
which is perfect. I mean, you mentioned something very interesting, and it relates to us. So, if hearing you speak, I say, who then drives the hotel's distribution strategy? Is it the consumer itself that drives the strategy, and then you have to be present wherever they want to see you present? It is kind of a radical thinking that the consumer drives your distribution strategy, right? Because technically,
no, not anymore. They control,
right?
Yeah. The internet changed everything. The consumer's in control. In fact, getting back to what you guys are saying, it all starts with the website. And of any website out there that's up and running, the hospitality industry should be crushing the website space. And it's not, it's lackluster at best. I mean, you go to the brand website and it's just like, it's way underwhelming compared to what you go to the hotel. It's amazing how much opportunity there are on just starting with the website right now. It's huge upside. So
I was actually consulting with a hotel just recently trying to figure out why they're losing bookings. Like they're getting people to the website, they're going through and getting to the booking engine, and then right before they have to click go, they're abandoning the process. And we started looking at it, and it's like, because, and I'm not going to mention it, this is actually a really high-end independent luxury property, but their website looks like they are a mid-scale roadside motel.
Wow.
And so you go through the website and you think, oh, well, you know, I'll save money on my hotel because the hotel's up in Napa. I'll save money on my hotel. And then I have so much more money to spend on the wine. And then they get to the booking engine and it's $600 a night. And I'm like, the website is not matching up with your price. So there's an ROI value differential here, and that's what's causing the abandonment. So they're now actually contracting out with another company to build a website that's representative of who and what they are, but more importantly, representative of the prices that they charge. This wasn't a case where they were charging the price because the market will bear it. It's truly experiential and worth it for the property. They didn't think about that when they were building out that independent website.
And Christy, let me touch on that and then use Jerome as the bounce here, because we wanted to get Jerome's opinion on the importance of marketing and technology, right? Website is big marketing, big technology. I think that people get obsessed about website being B2C, where actually it could be a very powerful B2B tool in your arsenal to put your business out there, right? So everyone just thinks that the website needs to have a booking button and that's it. And the website is so much more. So not only from the compliance side, Jerome, and then also like bouncing back and forth from Christy and you, and this one is, could it be that we didn't have specialists building the sites before, that they really knew the industry? I think we just had parachutists coming and say, I'm going to build your website, charge you $13K and leave. And then, I don't know, because we got to this point somehow, right? So like, how can we help now hoteliers to enable that? Is what is the importance of that technology behind it? And I mean, it will affect the bottom line, right, Jerome? So if you have a bad website, to Christy's point, you're going to get less money.
Absolutely. I mean, it's like Christy says, but definitely also like Corey says, it's a the market controls the hotels rather than the hotels control the market. So if a guest or a potential guest goes on the website and you lose them, then it's potentially not in your market segment in the first place. So, but before they go there, there's a zoo of channels that they go through to actually find your hotel. So if you're when you're talking about profitability and business to business and marketing, I think it's actually also going back really to the basics of or the pillars of marketing, which are very, very much about your brand identity, developing that, making sure that it's personal, making sure that you reach the real target audience. And with June's, for example, we're turning everything around, and it's basically because I had a lunch with a friend, and he said, like, you're thinking wrong, you're thinking differently than you're thinking from the hotel industry. I've been in sales and marketing my entire life within hotels. I've been a CEO for a small hotel chain. I've been a general manager. I've done operations, and I studied Six Sigma, which is totally different, and is process improvement and looking at everything and looking. But what you do is you go back to the root. You go back to what is it that we really need, and what is a marketing requirement, for example, to build relationship with clients. What do you need to communicate? What is essential? What is the message? Because they are going to communicate that on in a very easy and quick and fast pace that we don't understand anymore. Maybe it's because we're too old, or we don't even know what. We're talking about Chat GPT. I had to look it up the other day what GPT actually stands for. I mean, it goes so fast. But it's also what's also interesting is like we're communicating with people that actually have an influence. Every guest, every person that walks into our door or walks into our office to make a business contract, they are an influencer. The way you communicate with them, the way you talk with them, the way you send an invoice is going to affect your business at some point. And this is part of that credibility. If you say one thing but you do another, it's not going to work. If you communicate one thing and stick to that original marketing strategy, you will get there. And now we have all the tools. We have data. We have data that can give us. It basically tells us what marketing decisions to take, whether that's SEO, whether that's market opportunities, finding new market segments, all that kind of stuff. And then you have the opportunity to actually, with that data, embrace what people are giving us and what information we're getting and communicate back, as long as you stick to that brand identity and your strategies, then you're fine. But a few more things. I know you want to cut me off and and have a few questions, but I think it's we had an example earlier on about technology and how suddenly the hotel industry is talking about technology as if it's a given. It's not. I mean, I got into my car about 15 years ago, keyless. Now we're talking about keyless check-in is the biggest thing in hotels. It's not really. Let's face it. I mean, again, I could open my car 10 years ago without even getting close to it. So, but the technology is also something that is seen as a cost. You need to pay for it. Sure, you can save costs and you have all kinds of operational efficiencies. But with all the consulting that I've done, like Christy, for example, I found out that we measured 10 years of consulting within a big hotel chain, and 84% of incremental profits came out of revenue generation. It wasn't about cost saving. It wasn't about cutting personnel. It was about the right marketing strategy. And the last point that I want to make is that we've touched on now is this personal experience. It's clear. I mean, people have a need to feel the culture, to understand what's going on local, to read local books. If you have an interest in books, then you want to go and see an old antique shop in Chelsea in London. You're not interested in going to the shop where you buy my book, for example. I mean, I'm not trying to sell it, but it's and that's something that within business to business, and this is what Junes is doing. So we're turning everything around. We're actually starting with brands. Any brand. You can name any brand, and there is a potential traveler that is within that exact market segment that is of extreme high value to a hotel. It could be Nike for fitness. It could be Vivino for wine. It could be baby products for kids travel. And that's how you do this market segmentation, and that's how you get and keep these high value guests.
And I completely agree. Sorry. Go ahead, Jenny.
Go ahead, Jenny.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to comment because I think what he's mentioned about that market segmentation. Once you define where your customer is at, it's how you reach that customer, right? Mm-hmm. And that's where the B2B is so key. Especially, and I always love to touch on international, just because we tend to forget that. We think that sometimes everybody in the world works like we work here in the US, and everybody books like we book here in the US. But when you talk to customers from China, from Brazil, from Mexico, not everybody books online. There are still travel professionals, there are still travel agents, there's still meeting planners, there is still very different ways of traveling overseas. And I think that's also key in how we use B2B, to our advantage in reaching these different markets and how they're working, because there's those other B2Bs that B on the other side knows how that market works and is able to help us reach that specific customer journey that you targeted. So that's where the B2B is so important, again, because it's just getting to that specific customer we identified we want. That might be the key to getting there,
And to add to that,
I'm sorry, Christy, go ahead.
I was going to add to that, and this is where technology comes into the mix.
Great.
When's the last time you Googled, I'm planning a meeting in June, and I was Googling for website or for hotels in the market that we're looking at the meeting, and every one of, 4 or 5 hotels came up. They were all hotels that I would have considered, but when I clicked them, now keep in mind that in my Google search, it specifically said hotels, meeting space. I can't remember, but it was very specific that this was to book a meeting. When I clicked that, every single time it took me back to the hotel's main website. And now, because someone made a comment about online booking clicks or per booking are going down because of how many clicks we have to make. From my Google thing what I wanted. Why do you not have the technology set up that it took me to your meeting's landing page and helped me see the schematic? I'm stunned by the major chains that don't have their schematic for their meeting space on there. I have to pick up the phone and call it. I don't pick up the phone because I move on to the next hotel. But, you talked about the clients, the customers are the one leading the process, but we can guide them through to see what they want and make their lives easier using technology. And when I was talking to a hotel, they're like, no, when you do pay-per-click, it has to be just to your hotel's website. I'm like, no, it can be any landing page you want. Why do you not have a landing page that's specifically for weddings? You're on the beach, for God's sake. Why do you not have one for corporate meetings? This is not a one size, and that goes back to that experiential, but technology can help us do that. But it's like we built these websites and everyone thought, well, those are the only pages I can have. They don't understand that your website is like a library. You can add as many books as you want to it. You may have to pay a little bit more money, but probably not a lot. And if the market segmentation is there, why not do that? Why not guide customers through the process that they control?
And not only that, Christy, not only I completely agree, I think it's a great segue into getting Rachel's opinion into, again, now we have the Lego blocks to build an insanely awesome distribution channel. You have the technology that we didn't have before the pandemic, right? We do have some dependence on legacy. Rachel, you mentioned yourself how Jenny was built on blockchain. And how would this modern technology, and not only hospitality, because we always tend to segue into talking about hotels only, and travel is such broad, and they're all the other actors needing this technology as well. So
I feel like you guys have really been focusing on at the hotel level, almost at the boutique hotel level, because for sure Marriott has a competent enough web designer that they have an events page, I'm sure. So it sounds like you guys are very focused on these like individual properties and how can they enhance their monetization. But we really think about it from a different perspective. I think more in line with what Roybos has been talking about as well, is that there is this vast network of travel resellers out there who want to market individual properties because they know about them, because they have experience with them, because they have an audience that's listening to them about where should they go. But having the technology in hand to be able to access that audience and help distribute those hotels has been a stumbling point in the industry. And so I think that's a huge area of opportunity for technology, is to empower B2B resellers, and that benefits at the end, every hotel, every travel inventory supplier who's trying to access different channels. Because, on a platform like an Expedia or whatever, you're not really standing out, right? People are just searching by price. They're booking their own trip. They're not looking to some other influencer or travel advisor to give them some insights into where to go, right? So we really see an opportunity to build up that channel. And then the blockchain part really plays into a different part of the industry needs, which is the timeliness of getting your funds, the security of getting your funds, either your COGS payment or your commission, and the simplicity of reconciling those records, because hotels and all these properties spend a lot of money on the back office to dig through these invoices and figure out what happened and did I even get paid, and the travel seller isn't even getting paid. The commission goes unpaid, we learned, in 40% of bookings, which is crazy. Why, bother to do it at all if you're not going to get paid? So that's where we really see blockchain playing a role in the industry in streamlining those processes, saving money on the back office, and increasing the reality of actually collecting your payment.
And Rachel, thank you for that, because I think it's very relevant to ask you this as well, and then get everyone else's opinion. The industry still thinks siloed, right? When it comes to technology, when it comes to our distributor strategies, this is my product, I distribute it that way. If something happens next to me, like, God bless, hope it gets some visibility. So do you think that B2B or modern technology also helps build more of an ecosystem? Like, I'm tired of hearing about the connected trip and never happening. Is this how we enable the connected trip? Is this how we enable the kind of mass scalability of B2B as an opportunity for all these products?
Yeah. I mean, it can be like Uber, where, people have a main hustle or a side hustle that has been facilitated by a new tech platform, right? People can go out in an entrepreneurial way and they can sell travel and they can get paid for it, with technology platforms that allow them to do that, and that allow them to connect into the distribution of, the hotel channels, of which, there's a lot of ways to access that inventory, but of course that's another tech solution, right? How do you access that and sell it and get paid for it? And so, we definitely see it opening up this larger economic opportunity to people who have another way to make money and a way to get involved in travel, whereas it might have been too technologically difficult before.
And then what outside of blockchain do you mean? Can you point out to those like 2 or 3 like beachheads or segues or changes after COVID that made this more possible compared to legacy, if we do that?
Yeah, I mean, so if you look at what it has taken historically to get online and sell bookable travel to people, most of the solutions that are out there that will let you do that, you pay them on it's almost an engineering cost, right? They're going to build something custom for you. They're going to get you into business, but it's very expensive. Or they're going to charge you incrementally to hook up every new inventory supplier. Or you have to go out and they'll show you the website. You can see a booking engine, but you actually have to go out and get all those commercial agreements yourself, right? So you've got to find the vendors. You'll have to pay them a deposit. You'll have to get that API integrated into your booking engine. So there were a lot of obstacles. And so that's what we see is the ability to use new technology, Web 2, in addition to Web 3, to seamlessly get yourself in business where you can sell travel and have access to all that inventory right away. And it opens up so much distribution opportunity for the industry, right? Because now they have all these different individual people out there hustling to sell their travel, instead of being stuck with like sort of just a third-party website where they're not able to differentiate themselves.
Exactly. They get that visibility and that spotlight that if you are just clustered in 1 or 2, 3 channels, you're never going to get, because you're going to be competing against so many options in whether it's airlines, whether it's travel, whether it's activities, and when you're diversifying, which I was talking at the beginning, now you have that opportunity to reaching that customer and having that spotlight and showcase what you have to offer.
And then I think also that the kind of icing on the cake on all of this that we've been discussing for the last 50 minutes is that if you don't enable yourself through technology, through like enhancing your brand, through a distribution strategy and everything, you also are not spending your time where it makes most sense, which is delivering an amazing experience product to the consumer, right? So if you're not working with like experts, consultants, and with the best technology possible and everything, you're not doing a favor to your business, right? And if you keep that mentality of thinking of it just as a cost, and like you're not even looking at the bottom line because you're so far up the top of the line that you're not seeing the biggest impact on your business, right?
Yeah.
Well, and I think in that, there comes a point where you can't do it all. It just, we've talked about how hotels are limited. So find a good consultant partner that's willing to do some of these things that Rachel was talking about, that Jenny was talking about, and let an expert that is their job, is to stay on top of these things, to be cutting edge in this, and let them help you guide. Obviously, as a hotel or a group of hotels, you're going to set the strategy. These are the market segments that I want to attract. This is the way I want to diversify, because I see that this one particular market segment is beginning to wane. I want to know 3 other market segments that are coming on, and how do I tap into that business, and let that expert help guide you through that process. I think that is what our owners tend to think, is that we hire this director of sales and marketing at a hotel, and they're an expert in anything. And chances are they're a good salesperson that had that M tacked onto their title, and they have literally no idea how to do the M. So, it's finding those good partners and partnering with them to do that is that's what's going to make you more efficient. Let your hotel people focus on where their core strengths are, selling your hotel, delivering the experience, and find a good partner that can help you with the other pieces, connecting you to the right technology, asking all the questions that, guess what, you don't even know what questions you need to ask. If you want to put a kiosk that lets people check in at the front desk, you don't know, as a hotelier, you don't know what questions that you ask, but chances are there's a consulting company out there that does and can help guide you through that process and get you up and running faster than you can on your own.
Good. So with that said, I know we're 10 minutes from the hour. So would it be okay with you if we just go through some of the questions, open up a little forum, and then we can potentially get some couple of minutes to just say goodbye? And I always ask for the panel to share like a nugget of wisdom for everyone.
Hello, I'm here. I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm not appearing. I'm like the ghost, but I'm the ghost that's speaking. Okay, we have a lot of questions here from the public. I will start from the last to the first one, because I think the last ones are more concerning for the B2B side. And we have a few ones that it's concerning more guest experience that we want to cover in the next. But I will set those online because we have a commitment with our attendant. So Alejandro, I will set all of them for you here. Like this, you can read it, and then everyone can ask. I will start right away. Thank you.
Good. So it says, now airlines here in Africa have started to push us book on their portals, aside from using GDSs like Galileo, Sabre, and others. Not new, I think, but very difficult to log into all carriers' site to service our clients. Any best approach to this?
I have one.
Go for it, Rachel.
So if you were managing your travel selling business through a platform like Zeddy, you would have access to basically every airline in the world, and you could shop them all simultaneously and send your clients invoices that way. And the airlines will get paid, through NDC if they don't do the GDSs.
We'll leave the whole NDC discussion for another 3-hour panel for sure. Good. There was a question around, what do you think about considering marketplace portals? The solution to avoid that technology will always be a huge limit and often a waste of money too, for small and medium hotels and operators. So it says real marketplaces with direct interaction and payment customer vendor, where like you can sell all other ancillary packages, which on average have a less developed technology. Was that clear?
Well, I think this is the marketplace is something that's developing very quickly, and it's probably in our industry. If you look at Uber, which is a very good example of marketplace, Airbnb, we learn a lot from what they're doing. And again, this is all about marketing. It's all about referrals. It's all about technology. How can you get from A to B the quickest way? Most certainly, the technology is that advanced that we can make use of it in different ways than we are doing now. Both hotel chains, independent hotels, smaller hotels for sure. Again, it's also about what market segment are you looking for. And a lot of, I think it's it's a lot about data. It's a lot about what kind of customer do you get in. It's about AI. It's about that reach that you're able to get through data. And like Christy said, there's not a lot of pros on property. So you'll probably need someone who's actually a specialist and can analyze data to help you find a way to put your property or to work with a partner, business to business partner on marketplace. Bless you.
And Alejandro, just like Rachel said, I want to throw a commercial. Roybos is definitely that, a marketplace solution, that enables exactly that small, and they are specific about hotels. That's exactly what we do. It's a way to, you have a marketplace and there's no investment and there's no cost for the user, which is also interesting because that way they don't have to commit to a solution that, like they said, and maybe in the end might be a waste of money. I think nowadays also technology is trying to be giving the opportunity to test it and try it out, so you don't have to come in with this huge commitment, and then in the end it might not work for you. So I think these are a solution like Roybos is great.
Well, we already knew that before this call, but
I like that idea because I don't think there are enough things out there that you can do the fail fast kind of concept. And a lot of these things, there may be channels that are out there that are not a good fit for you. But if you've got to make a long-term commitment or do a huge upfront investment, that also prohibits things because owners aren't as loose with their pocketbooks as they were 3 years ago. How many years are we into this pandemic? 3 years ago. So no one's going to say, oh, I want to go invest $10,000 in this, but I don't know what it's going to get me. But if you've got these marketplace things where it's either a very low upfront cost or very low minimal commitment, then you can say, I'm going to try this. This is the specific reason that I want to try this. We're going to give it a 3-month period to see if it works. And then we're going to recap and show on a monthly basis what we picked up. Did it get us into the segments that we wanted to get into? And if not, then we're going to walk away or we're going to read it through it. And I don't think that is where, I don't think hotels have that particular, I'll use Jerome's Six Sigma mentality to go through this. And that's where a consultant can come in because they can help you define what those goals are, how to track it, and then turn around and say, yep, this is working for you. Let's invest more time, money, effort. No, this is not working for you. Here are the reasons that we think why. You may want to go address those and continue, or you may want to say this is not our place and time and we're going to move on and do something else. But you've got to have that protocol in place to test and fail if necessary.
I just will profit the spoiler here. I'm the ghost here. I'm Vinny. I'm here. I just will profit the spoiler just to tell you that Travel Tech is working on the first marketplace, the real marketplace for technological companies all over the world. We're building the first marketplace for tech companies all over the world for the hospitality, travel, and suppliers market all over the world. I just want to Alejandro go ahead with the Dylan because I do not agree with this. I don't will tell why.
It's an exclusive. I love exclusives. You know what I mean? I'm getting the preview coming attractions. So but I think and we know we're like on the last 3 minutes, and so you get the chance to say goodbye to everyone. But at the end of the day, like we've listened to a lot of very interesting things. Like we're now kind of crowning it with marketplace. I think still that there's a lot of education to be made around marketplaces and the taxonomy behind what a marketplace is versus what it's not, and how people confuse them with LTAs, and like the debate about whether an LTA is a marketplace or not. We can have another day, but I think that we touch points on how diversification is important, how to have a clear strategy on B2B, how to define your segmentation. Coming back to the brand by Jerome, I thought that was completely marvelous because like some people forget about the brand and some people kind of forget about leaving or fulfilling that promise, right? And all enabled through technology, because today you kind of do that like the way you did in the 70s or 80s or through the GDS, right? It's much more evolved, much more personalized, much more tailored to the consumer. So with all of this, maybe I can ask you for a favor and just leave that parting golden nugget of wisdom or people looking at us and say, what do they need to do, or what is the biggest opportunity thing for them to kind of scale their business after this? We can start with going around. Jerome?
Yeah. I recently read a book. I read a lot of books, but I read a book from Jean Olweg, who's running Virgin Charity, and she wrote a quote which is forge the deep connections that make great things happen. That's what I want to leave you guys with. Absolutely amazing quote.
Thank you very much, Jerome, for your time today. It was awesome to have you. I'm going to go to my right, Christy.
So I'm going to kind of do a plug straight up for technology. I mentioned earlier that my passion these days is getting hotels to treat that meeting space in the same way they treat your guest rooms. If you walked into a hotel and said, "What's your average occupancy, Rachel, on Tuesdays in February?" Rachel is the GM. Would be Rachel's just because you're right in front of me. I'm not picking on you. I apologize. Rachel would be able to say, "Oh, Tuesdays in February we run about 78% occupancy on average." If I said, "What's your average occupancy in your meeting space on Tuesdays in February?" there would be crickets in the room. But the reason that we do this is because the technology to be able to book online has come very late to the game. It's just now at its nascent place. But I'm still hearing from hotels, "Oh no, I can't put my meeting space on my booking engine because there's too much in the sales process." No, there isn't. Little Susie will happily book the 15-person offsite online using her credit card or blockchain or Bitcoin or whatever, and never have to talk to a human being if you price it properly. If you don't have a booking engine for your website, for your meeting space, go get one. In my best Toy Story voice, because we're at that tipping point. I'm old enough to remember when websites and Expedia first came along and everybody was like, "No one's ever going to call a book online. They want to talk to someone." Well, guess what? 60% of business is now booked online in some shape, way, form, or fashion. It takes as much time to sell a 15-person event as it does to sell a 1,500-person event. If you could get all those little 15, 20, 50, 75 meeting rooms booked online where they're paying for it and doing all the work for you, now you can really do less with more because your salespeople can focus on big meetings and filling your hotels and not eating up time with that 15-person meeting that little Susie just needs to plan. And that's my soapbox for the day.
Calling technology out. I like that.
Actually, and there I'm calling the hotels out because they're not embracing the technology, and the technology is there. Go use it. Get out of your own way and go use it.
Love it. Rachel?
Yeah, I mean, I think I would just say that there has been so much innovation on the B2B side in the last few years. I think that the 30 years prior in travel was really marked by innovation on the B2C side. Since Expedia, every company was B2C, and now I think there's been a little bit of a resurgence in B2B focused tech. And so for people who maybe thought, "Oh, there's nothing out there to fix whatever problem I have," today there probably is, and so I'm kind of excited to see what this tech marketplace that Travel Tech is putting together is, because maybe it'll make it easier for people to find those solutions that they're looking for.
Agreed. And I'm sick and tired of hearing that the OTA model is just the ultimate evolution of this and nothing can beat it.
Right. It's not true. OTA is not a great experience, actually. It's pretty frustrating sitting there and price comparing for 2 days. Nobody wants to do that.
Rachel, you're preaching to the choir here.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, with that said, thank you very much as well. And a pleasure to have Shani today. Corey.
Well, thanks, guys. I really appreciate you having me on. I know we had a few different conversations going on here, so I'm gonna dovetail on Christie's. Move my thing, and I'm gonna hold up my acronym here, WINS, and it starts with technology. I'm gonna move into technology, the website again, but we've got so much. We have so much way to go on the website experience. And it all starts, especially on the meeting and the group side, the B2B side, the leisure component being one thing. But if you go to a meeting part of a website on most every hotel's website, it is lackluster at best. So much area for improvement to nurture somebody in the discovery phase of their process. Then using technology to nurture and influence your prospects. Once you build that relationship, you built that trust, that's when you sell. So wins, W-I-N-S, is my takeaway. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. And this is being shared all through the world. So tomorrow everyone is talking about wins for sure.
I just wrote it down.
Yeah. I mean,
Hey.
first thing on my stand-up tomorrow with my team for sure.
Thank you.
And then last but not least, Jenny.
Thank you, Alejandro. Well, I think I just want to conclude with inviting everybody, the listeners, to everything that we've heard today. Stay open to learning about all of this, because sometimes I think we get so involved in running our businesses and trying to get to the next thing that we don't really carve out time to be curious, to learn about all of these options in the world and technology and solutions. And so staying open, changing that mindset to being able to really understand the information, make decisions, and embrace change. I think, embracing change is one of the hardest things for all of us as humans. And in our sector, in technology, it's all about change. And we need to stay open, stay curious, and embrace that change.
Thank you very much for
Well
that.
said.
And before I segue Vinicius to close up today, I think that my parting nugget would be stay open, and again, open to getting educated on working together and create more ecosystem, right? It's like nobody owns the consumer, basically. The consumer owns the consumer.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm the trigger guy. I'm always anxious to interrupt persons. Sorry about it. Thank you so much, Jenny, Corey, Rachel, Alejandro, Jerome, Chrissy White. Thank you for the attendance. We got more than 85 persons connected through the first time in Travel Tech that we have more people on LinkedIn than YouTube. It's the first time. It's the first time we make all the publicity through the LinkedIn. So thank you for all of you to be here. Just remind to the public, in 54 minutes, we're going to start our panel with 6 personalities for direct sales, digital marketing, and data analytics, focus on hotel sites and a little bit about travel. So keep tuned. We have a few questions that's concerning direct sales and hotels. Is the next panel. We wait you to be with us. So thank you so much. And it's here for all of you. If you want to make a Travel Tech Academy with us, we're open to do that. Just contact me. You have my cell phone, you have my email, you have all my details. So we are here. Thank you so much to have everybody here with us, and have a great week ahead. I am finished with the video again. Bye-bye. Thank you for everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Pleasure sharing with all of you.
Bye-bye.
Welcome to Travel Tech 2023 USA and Canada 4 edition, where transformation begins. By becoming a sponsor at Travel Tech, you'll gain access to an exclusive platform to showcase your brand to a global audience. Here's why you should sponsor our event. Travel Tech provided knowledge to more than 167 countries. Travel Tech is the largest online event in the travel and hospitality industry, reaching the milestone of over 1,500,000 unique impressions in its events. Delivering to the world knowledge, free education, inclusion, and effective networking for evolution in the industry. Being an excellent means of showcasing your brand. Over 80,000 people attended our live events, generating more than 19,000 hospitality and travel-focused leads. Introducing Travel Tech Academy, a platform offering free courses designed to share valuable knowledge from the best professionals in the travel and hospitality industry. Our mission is to provide inclusive learning opportunities for those who may not have the means to gain qualifications otherwise. With Travel Tech Academy, you'll have access to top-notch resources and insights that can help propel your career in the travel and hospitality sector. Over 3,500 professionals have already taken the course on our platform, acquiring knowledge and improving their professional profile. Many professionals, through Travel Tech Academy courses, have managed to find better job opportunities in the job market. For more information, visit traveltechacademy.com. Stay tuned for the upcoming editions. Brazil and Portugal, taking place between May 23rd and 25th. APAC, happening between July 11th and 13th. LATAM and Spain, taking place between September 12th and 15th. EMEA happening between November 14th and 18th, thus concluding the events of 2023. And to become a sponsor of Travel Tech, get in touch through our website, traveltechspace.com, or by email at geraldo@traveltechspace.com. Travel Tech,